Hello.
So what is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Tribes of Midgard video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about which runes you should be looking out for in order to give yourself massive bonuses when playing Tribes of Midgard. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise let's get straight into this video. So first of all, for those uninitiated, the rune system are things that you can pick up whilst playing both Saga and Survival, and you will get bonuses from using them. So for example, you could get bonus to bows, you could get bonus damage while not having clothes on, you can get a lot of different bonuses depending on what you pick up. Now, in order to get these runes, there are a few different ways you can do it. The first is just going out in the world and killing normal enemies can drop these runes, killing camps can drop these runes, elite enemies can drop these runes, so anything that dies can drop the runes. The second way that you can do this is at the very start of the match, or whenever you choose really, but I recommend the start of the match, go into the Jarl's house into the village. Go in there and you'll be able to spend some golden horns to get some runes. Now just bear in mind that the first one costs 1, the second one costs 2, and all the way up to 5. So it will use a lot of golden horns if you are trying to get 5, and then you can only get 5. So just bear that in mind. You will use quite a lot of currency if you're trying to get 5 runes straight off the bat. Now, if you want to find more information about the runes, what you can do is go to your progress and then go to recipes. In here, you can scroll across to runes, and then you can scroll down and hover over exactly which rune you want to look at and work out what they are. The only problem with this is when you're in the game, like me, I can't remember what things are called, and it's taking a while for me to get up to speed on things. Luckily for you, Tribes of Midgard's Twitter feed has you covered. They recently released this image here, which is all 30 runes with all their names on it, what they are and what color code they are as well. So it is really handy. I have this on a second screen when I'm playing it, so I can just glance across quickly and have a look and see what they are. So now that we've got what the runes are and how you can view them, let's talk about some of the best ones. Now, some of these you can get via a starter kit to give yourself a boost at the start. These are really nice. However, others you will just have to find, like we said earlier, either through the Jarl's chest or just RNG in the world. Now, all runes have a purpose at some point. You can have very specific runes that do certain things with bows, very specific things that do certain things with experience, but I'm going to talk to you about some of the general ones which are just good no matter what you do. Now, the first one that we are going to talk about is Far-Fetch. Now, Far-Fetch increases damage dealt to enemies by 20%. This also includes the ranged attacks on your weapons. So whilst it does have a bow symbol, it will also boost the damage of your projectiles from, say, your Nornir axe. So if you manage your enemies effectively, what you can do, say for example you have the big AoE hell thing that attacks your base on a blood moon. If you fire your Nornir from stood by the tree in a straight line towards it, a full barrage of that weapon's projectile attack will just completely destroy an enemy if you have this rune on. Next, we're moving on to the green category, and there are 3 runes in here that are absolutely fantastic. The first one is Nothing to Hide. Increased damage dealt by 30 for each empty armor slot. Now, this rune is included in a starter kit with the Feral Warhammer. There are a lot of people running this at the start of their games to give them a significant damage increase at the start of the game, and then they are just going to craft armor and other weapons later on during their run. I personally still find it just simpler for me to have armor and a sword on the other starter kit, but there is no denying that this rune is super powerful. Don't forget that runes stack, so if you have more than one of these runes and you're still naked, you will get 60 if you have 2, 90 if you have 3 damage dealt by each empty armor slot. So it is a incredibly powerful rune, just 3 damage, and that's damage to all of the things you do, arrows, everything. It's brilliant. The next rune is a utility rune, and this is Lucky Loot. Now, Lucky Loot gains a 15% chance to double the loot dropped by enemies. Now, whilst on the face of it 15% might not be that much, this can make a big difference to what equipment that you can craft early on in the game. The final rune we're going to touch on in the green tree is soul powered. Deal 5 more damage per 100 souls hells at the maximum of 10,000 souls. Now this is a top tier rune. If you can play the risk reward of holding a lot of souls and fighting, you can do a ridiculous amount of damage. And again, you can stack this. So you can do thousands of damage on hit with a single swing of an axe. But again, there is a huge risk reward with this. If you die and lose all your souls, you obviously lose all that power as well. And obviously just bear in mind that you will need to be spending your souls at some point to upgrade your village, to upgrade your smiths, etc. But as a warden, generally speaking, you have more souls, so it goes really, really well with that class. Onto the rune category, and there are 4 runes here that are just fantastic. The first one is the Weaver. Combo attacks have a 30% chance to generate magical projectiles that seek out enemies and deal high physical damage. Now this is just free damage, guys. It's really good because it's auto seeking, so you don't have to aim. It can hit people like left, right of you. It doesn't matter where they are. And again, these stack. So I've actually had a run with 3 of these on, and you are just a mobbing machine. It will also still hit Fenrir and the Jotuns as well, giving you that extra little bit of damage output. One of my favorite blue runes so far. Next up, we're going to talk about 2 runes that were made for the Sentinel. The first one is Booming Shield. Blocking an attack with your shield triggers an explosion, dealing medium physical damage. This is absolutely brilliant. You can just stand there with your shield up, and a goblin or another attacker can come and hit you, and after 2 or 3 hits, they're dead by you just blocking the shield. Now, it doesn't do crazy amounts of damage, but if you're getting overrun, you can hold the shield there, and that explosive damage will also do an AoE, which pushes some enemies back as well. Pair this with our 3rd rune that was also, in my opinion, made for the Sentinel, which is Kindred Impact. Blocking an enemy with your shield deals a heal pool of 200 around you. That will also mean that you are doing explosive damage and healing damage all at the same time, giving you a massive advantage when mobbing. Kindred Impact is a fantastic skill no matter what, and the same with Booming Shield, but I just feel like they're absolutely made for the Sentinel. The final blue rune that we're going to look at is Pumped Up, dealing 20% more damage when your mana gauge is full. Now this works well for most classes, but this works exceptionally well on the Warrior. The Warrior has ways to get his mana up faster, and he also has an extra mana bar as well, meaning that you can deal that extra 20% damage more regularly with the Warrior, given how quickly he can recharge his mana. Onto the purple runes then, and we're just going to quickly scan through these because there are only 4. Viking Hoarder, I do not actually think is worth a dime. You can just go and pick up your equipment anyway, so it doesn't matter at all. Might of Mjolnir. Combo attacks have a 20% chance to generate Arc of Lightning that connects nearby enemies for thunder damage. I cannot wait to unlock this. This will be a top tier perk. I will want this every single time I go into Saga or Survival. Just free combo damage that will link into enemies. And who doesn't want to be like 4? Next is Explosive Finale. Now, Explosive Finale isn't that good in my opinion. It doesn't do enough damage and it's a little bit inconsistent. It only has a 10% chance to trigger an explosion of magical shards. Doesn't quite go off as often as I would like to, so it's a pass from me on that one. Rolling Thunder is a nice perk. It's one that I would have at the start, but I would probably roll off for a damage perk. If you're fighting a Jotun and you're waiting for them to do their stomp mechanic or whatever it is, and you roll away, you have a chance to trigger a bolt of lightning that does medium damage. It's not great. It's about 200-300 at max, so it's not great at all, but you know, as a nice to have, like I said, early game, keep it, but replace it when you get a chance. Then we're on to the legendary runes. Now, first up is the mysterious golden egg. Now, whilst there hasn't been official confirmation about the golden egg, the rumor on the street is it will give you more horns when you Bifrost out. Ragnarage is also another legendary rune which will increase all damage by 20% for everyone in range, including all enemies. Now, whilst this might seem a little bit of a risky strategy, I can see a lot of people running this for Fenrir. Fenrir can hit you ridiculously hard anyway, so by running this, most of the time you're going to get that extra 20% damage, and if you time your howls correctly and get out, most of the time he won't hit you, meaning that you will have a tremendous uptime of that 20%, and it will also boost your teammates without anybody else in the party necessarily needing the rune. Finally, we have Soulmate. Gain 2 souls per hit given, but lose 4 souls per hit received. Now, this is a really interesting rune. I've only had this once, and it did seem to work pretty well. Blocking does not count as a hit received, so if you're very good with your block, it means that you will get away with not actually losing any souls. I can see this being very useful for survival when soul currency can be a little bit limited. You can just go out and get souls from random enemies fairly consistently. Just make sure you're always paying attention so you don't lose any. So there you have it, guys. That is my review and what I think are the best runes in Tribes of Midgard. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or if you don't agree, or if you think there's something that I should have given a shout out to. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise I'll catch you on the flip.